One more time.
Yeah.
All
Alright, call the meeting to order. Mr. Weeks, will you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, good morning, everyone. Before we approve the agenda, item number 9, we need to change Litchfield Fireworks to Bellino Fireworks. B-E-L-L-I-N-O Fireworks. They had a change in contractors, as of this morning. With that correction, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Move. Second.
Motion by Weiss, second by Dennert. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. This time we'll open the meeting up for any public comment. Does anyone wish to address the commission this morning on any topic that isn't on the agenda? In the room, out there online, or on the phone? Seeing none, we will move on. Second reading, possible adoption of 2 ordinances.
Ordinance 271, an ordinance amending Title 4, second revision, Brown County ordinances as amended, to rezone certain described property filed by Morgan and Jackie Beving to go from Ag Preservation District to Mini Ag District.
Or is there anyone here to speak to ordinance 271? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Move.
Motion by Dennert, second by Gage. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Ordinance 272, an ordinance amending Title 4, second revision, Brown County ordinances as amended, to rezone certain described property filed by Julie Lillis to go from Ag Preservation District to Mini Ag District.
Is there anyone here to speak to ordinance 272? Seeing none, entertain a motion to approve.
Move. Second.
Motion by Feldheim, second by Weiss. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next up, designate the Aberdeen Insider as an official newspaper for Brown County, effective July 1, 2024. It's in the packets.
Move.
Motion by Weiss,
Second.
second by Dennert. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Right-of-way applications, we have one for Web Water and one for Northern Electric. Dirk, do you want to go over those if you're on the line, or do you want Lynn to briefly describe them?
I don't see Dirk on there.
I don't either. I talked to him yesterday, he said he was he's traveling.
Can you hear me?
There, yes, now we can, Dirk.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing tricky there. You know, one's a new service, and, I mean, if I were there wouldn't be any questions, and Lynn can expound on it however you need to be, but there's nothing that exciting about either one of them.
You don't have an issue with either one?
No,
Okay. First of all, the Web Water.
It's on West Shore Drive, Section 23, Township 124, Range 65, for a potable water line.
Move.
Motion by Weiss,
Second.
second by Gage. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
And Northern Electric is on County Highway 6, Section 7, Township 123 North, Range 64 West, for primary electrical.
Move.
Motion by Feldheim, second by Dennert. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Good luck getting in there.
Yeah. Next up, resolution for financial assurance for Subtitle D landfills.
Basically, we're just updating, they had some change in staffing at South Dakota DANR, so they wanted the new designee on there.
Okay?
Move.
Motion by Weiss,
Second.
second by Gage. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next up, Rachel Kipley, Fairgrounds Parks Manager, to talk about Aberdeen Security Investigations Contract. Good morning,
Morning, guys.
Rachel.
Morning, Rachel.
Was the contract in the packet?
It was.
Okay.
So obviously, the biggest priority Fair Week is to make sure when you have 200 to 300,000 people coming, converging on the fairgrounds, is to keep everybody safe. We've had a number of meetings with the Sheriff's Office and Aberdeen Security and Investigation to try to increase our security force out there. While the Sheriff's Office is doing a great job of keeping people, they're always short numbers. So, what we're looking at doing is trying to partner with Aberdeen Security and Investigation to have them focus kind of on the grandstand crowd control aspect. We'll still have the same headquarters just outside of the grandstand. The Sheriff's Office will still oversee all of that as far as the fairgrounds wide security, but it's gonna help us get some more bodies in there. So, that's what this, contract is all about, and we would pay $28 per hour for those non-certified officer, or guards.
And you've met with the sheriff's office, they're on board and
Yep,
everything?
yep, we've kind of
Good.
developed a placement of where people will be, time, shift, schedules. Appreciate all the input that you guys have provided on that. Some of you have worked out there, and I think we're gonna have a better resolution. And a lot of it, like I said, it's just kind of naughty kids late at night doing things they're not supposed to do, and having more bodies and security guards making rounds, and knowing how to handle that will be helpful, so.
Get that many people together and mix a little alcohol with it, you never know what might happen.
Yeah,
All right, so you're recommending approval,
I sure do.
okay? Motion by Weiss,
Second.
second by Feldheim, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Sounds good. Did you guys want me to stay for anything else today? Like, there were some questions on other stuff that might be under contract and personnel. Should I hang tight? Okay. And then, just, the fair book will be out. QQP's printing it as we speak, so it'll come out next week. And, we've got, make sure you visit the website. Ticket sales are going well, but we always like to see those go up earlier and not later. Get the advanced tickets, it's a little cheaper, so.
How's the progress on the roof?
Good. It looks like it's nearly done. They were putting up like the 4 fans,
Yep.
some of the fixtures and stuff, so, yeah.
Sure looking good.
Doesn't look like it's gonna be an issue time frame wise, so.
Good deal.
Yeah.
All right, thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right, next up, fireworks permit for the Brown County Speedway for Friday night.
Move it. Second.
Motion by Feldheim, second by Weiss. Any further discussion? We have all the required documentation as of this morning. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next up, opening of the RFP for court-appointed attorneys.
Brown County hereby requests proposals for attorneys to provide legal services to fulfill Brown County statutory obligations as set forth in South Dakota Codified Law 23A-40-6 and 23A-40-7, and other such instances in which the appointment of legal counsel at the expense of the county has been mandated by statute. This includes adult criminal cases, juvenile criminal cases, abuse and neglect proceedings, mental illness commitments, and alcohol commitments. Proposal with 7 attorneys.
What's the last thing?
Calls for annual payment in the amount of $850,000 for calendar year 2025 and up to $900,000 for 2026, divided between the 7.
What was this year's amount?
800 and something.
Yep. North of 800,000.
Yep. Want to defer for a week and let Carly and Ross go through it, or?
I think we need to let the state attorney review, make sure they've adequately provided the information we requested.
Why we started early.
Yep.
Wait, 1 week or 2? Probably 2.
2 weeks, okay? Motion by Weiss to defer.
Second.
2 weeks. Second by Dennis. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We'll take that up in a couple weeks after review. Next up, consent calendar. Lynn.
Okay. Approval of the post-election audit minutes of June 24th.
Move.
Motion by Weiss.
Second.
Second by Gage. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Approval of the general meeting minutes of June 25th.
Move.
Motion by Weiss.
Second.
Second by Feldheim. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Claims and payroll.
Move. Second.
Motion by Dennis, second by Weiss. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
HR report.
Move. Second.
Motion by Feldheim, second by Weiss. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Abatement.
Move. Second.
Motion by Gage, second by Denner. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Approve the new per diem rates effective July 1st.
Move.
Motion by Weiss,
Second.
second by Gage. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
What inflation?
Yeah.
Well, they switched to going, they're going with the IRS rates now, so they don't have to mess with it every year,
Yeah.
so. May auditor's report of accounts.
Move.
Motion by Weiss, second by Denner. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Set hearing date and authorize advertising for a temporary special event, malt beverage license for the Aberdeen Aquatic.
Move. Second.
Motion by Feldheim, second by Weiss. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Under other business, we've got Nancy Cutler and other Claremont residents concerned with Dakota/Missouri Valley/Western Railroad loading semis from the beef plant. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Nancy Cutler. I'm from Claremont, and Claremont needs your help. We were taken by surprise last week. On Thursday, I believe the dirt work started on our railroad line, and we were very excited about the railroad running again. We're used to corn and soybeans going through, and it's really been a good experience for us. However, when the dirt work started, we started asking questions, and really no one knew. I'm a retired teacher, so, you know, I have to come up with a good handout. That whole thing is a handout.
Yeah.
I've got some pictures included. I knew, you know, it's hard to imagine what it is exactly without seeing it. And sorry, I didn't staple them in down.
Fine. Fine.
Okay. And I don't know if you guys want a little something more look up there. Okay, so anyway, I will not read all of this for you because you are certainly capable of taking care of all of that yourself, but I will kind of recap. So we have known, there's been dirt work going on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday of this past week. Yesterday, the gravel was being hauled. And we started asking questions, calling on page 2. I have a list of the people that we have contacted that I personally know about, and I know that we've got Claremont residents here that have also made some phone calls, but we've only really had like a day and a half to put this together, so we're not as organized as we probably could be. But anyway, we have visited with you folks, and everywhere we go, there really isn't anyone that knows what the dirt work, that the dirt work was set to happen, and that they were going to load cars with animal byproduct onto our rail line. My husband called the department, on the state level, the Department of Agriculture and Natural Resources. He did talk to, and I got an email back from Kent Woodsmansee, and Kent told me to come to you, which I'm glad we'd already planned on doing that. And then he said he was going to reach out to Demco to clarify what this product was that was coming into town. And then my husband also talked to Mark Mayer, who is also in the same office, but he is the water person. If you see on the first page, they've done a lot of shaping, and they have a ditch that is connected into our city storm sewer. And we have gone through a lot of grief in Claremont to get that new storm sewer put in. And I don't think that's probably something that's allowed. Also, the placing of it, if you go to page 5, you can, it's kind of hard to get it, but in the first picture, you can see the dirt work, and it's by the old elevator that's kind of on the end of Main Street. It is directly across from Frank Rasmussen's yard, his play area where his children play. Just a few hundred feet, actually. And then Frank's house is next to that as well. So it's very close. We're concerned about the smell. We're concerned about any of the impact that the semis coming into town would have. I've got pictures in here as well of what Main Street looks like and the dirt work that's done so far. It's really hard to capture that well without seeing it in person, but I did the best I could. Then, on page 2, we've got a red section. And yesterday, Roger Schuler did a little bit of calling, and he called Bismarck, the rail office, for this South Dakota-owned rail line. And I didn't mention, but it is, oh gosh, I'm going to mess it up, Dakota, Missouri Valley Western, which is South Dakota-owned. And he called Bismarck to find out if there was anyone there that would know how that would impact our town. And they did, and they gave him some very clear statements. So there will be 4 semis, at least, that come into our town on a daily basis. If you do the math on that, that's about 5,000 gallons of product each day. Now, some people have been calling it tallow. I started out calling it kill juice. I don't know what's coming. We need to get clear. But even if it's tallow, I'm a 72-year-old farm girl, and we used to do all of our own butchering. My mom would work with the tallow, and it smells. And if it sits in a rail car, it's going to stink. It gets rancid, and unless there's a way to prevent that. So what Bismarck told them is that they would keep 4 to 5 tanker cars on the rail in the week. He didn't guarantee that there wouldn't be more, though, because their intention is to fill up 4 or 5 cars with, if it's a 30,000-gallon tank and it's 5,000-gallon trucks coming in, in one day you're going to have about 20,000 gallons. You're not going to fill a rail car. So they're going to sit there, and their intention was to pull off what they have filled, which should be 4 or 5 cars each week. That was their intention. And, we've worked with entities before that make a lot of promises, and I visited with our mayor yesterday morning, and he said, they assured him that they were going to put down drip pads when they unload and try to catch whatever there is, and I would love to believe that. I'm the kind of person that needs to see it before I'm going to believe it, but there's just a lot going on in a tiny little town, and our houses are directly across the street. We have 5 to 6 families, and they're generational homes. They've been there for, way before I, started living in Claremont, which was 50 years ago, and I really hate to see any kind of an impact other than clear sky, nice fresh air. That's what we have now, and that's really what I would love to see maintained. Anyway, so that's kind of the idea of what we're seeing as far as from the railroad side. We do have a public meeting set for next week on the 11th at 7 o'clock. I don't think I put that in there. And the project manager for this, his name is Scott, I don't know his last name, will be there to answer questions. So I think pretty much everybody in town will be there. We would like to invite any of you, if there's anyone that can come as a representative, we really do need your support and help in this. Now, I also, on page 3, put in, and on page 2, put in the houses that are most directly affected. I don't know how far this odor will go, but these are all houses and families that are within a half a block or less. So that kind of gives you an idea of what we're looking at. And then on page 4, I am showing you a picture of the route that they intend to use coming into town. They're going to drive on, they're coming on County Road 9, which will go by my house, and they're going to turn then on 9 to the east and get to our dumpster site, where our dumpster trucks come through all the time. And then pull into town on this street that you see on top, 3rd Street. Now, I ride bicycle all over town, and that street in the spring, and well, Claremont, we're wet. You know, we have a struggle keeping our streets in any kind of shape at all because of our soil. But 4 semis a day going through that, and that's going right through. There's other houses that they're driving by as well. In fact, we've got family here of some of those homes that they're going to go by. So when they cross Main Street, then they're going to go on to our old dumpster road, and that's where the loop starts to go around. I don't know, what else can I tell you? I've got a couple, I told you when the work started. I visited with you about that drainage going into the city storm sewer, at least at this point, unless they make some remediation of that of some kind. We're all concerned about the smell and how that's going to change our way of life. You see, when you don't have a grocery store, and you don't have a gas station, you don't have a post office, and you don't have a bank, there's very little in your town that you have, but we have each other. And it really makes people passionate. You have to be passionate to live in Claremont, because you're hauling your gas to mow your yard, and we were talking about it last night, we're a town of professionals. If you go from house to house, you'll see we have a superintendent, we have a lawyer, we have a ton of medical people who are RNs, we have educators, another one right there that's still working, the retired one. But we just have a lot of really good people who contribute. And I don't want our town to become a dumping ground. This might be just the beginning. We don't know where this will lead us. Even if this is not as smelly as what we think it will be, or, you know, we don't want to live across from it, what's next? The part that bothers me most is when my husband talked to the Department of Agriculture, they knew about this. They had already visited about it on their level, but none of us knew about this, and it just seems this should be a ground-up effort. And it's moving very quickly. If they started on Thursday and they're already hauling gravel yesterday, it's going fast. And my question is there a sense of urgency? Why is this moving so quickly? Why have we not had a chance to talk about it on even a city level? So, lots of questions, but not a lot of answers. Do you have any questions?
I don't have any specific questions at this time. After I was contacted by Sherm last Friday, that was the first that I was made aware of it. So I asked him to let me look into it. I visited with our Office of Emergency Management, Scott Mines, to see what he had heard about it. Visited with Derek Rogers, our highway superintendent, to see what he had heard about it.
Right.
And then I also visited with Scott Bader to see what he had heard about it.
Right.
So planning and zoning, emergency management, and highway were the 3 that I contacted and got a little more information, but I think you've recapped everything that I've learned in the last 4 days.
The other thing that it took a while to piece it all together. I called Ty Fleece, who owns Houghton Gap, And someone contacted John McCraney, who owns the other elevator in town. And what, the closest thing that we can figure out happened here is that a few years ago, and you probably already know all of this because you deal with this on a daily basis and I don't. But a few years ago, farmers that owned land were able to purchase their land, I'm going to say it wrong, the right-of-way up to the railroad tracks. So most farmers did that. John McCraney also owns it up to. This seemed to be a spot that the state owned. No one purchased it. And I'm guessing, this is just a guess, that it happened during that time. No one stepped forward to purchase it, and so they found a loophole.
I don't know if residents in Claremont knew that that was an option to buy that.
Well, and I'm sure it possibly could have happened that way because, you know, as farmers, you get information, but as residents, you don't always get the same. So
where they're putting gravel right now, that's state property then?
yes,
Okay.
it is. And they were given permission, as we understand it. They actually leased that ground, the railroad leased that ground from the state.
And the way I understand it, based on what I've learned, the gravel and the expansion of the approach are to allow for easier access by the semis.
It's pretty long. I would say it's maybe a half a block long.
Okay.
Where because they're trying to come in a back way into town and not be on our main street.
Sure.
So they're simply crossing our main street. Although the way they were shaping that, the out approach, it looked to me like the empty trucks might be going out our main drag. That's just a guess.
Okay.
It looked like it. It looked to me like a semi isn't going to be able to turn back and go back the way they came.
Which is our normal truck route, up to
Yeah.
that one point.
Yeah.
Dirk, you have some?
Yeah, sorry, excuse me, sorry to interject myself. I got a little information that'll add a little clarity. And Nancy, it's like I'm back at conferences again.
We're just missing your kids.
None of them were incarcerated, so I think you did something right. No, I got contacted a week ago, and somebody yelled if you lose me or something, but and he had asked me a few questions. Mainly, we were talking. Just hear me out here, but we were mostly talking about Claremont. And at the time I was talking to him, and I keep saying him, I can't think of what his name is, but it's either that Scott or it's Scott's boss. And at the time when I was done talking to him, I was under the assumption that they were coming in on 9, and then I gave him mayor's number, Mr. Johnson, and that was the last contact I had with the guy. Everything is pretty consistent there. 4 trucks is what I was told would be coming in there, and that it's beef tallow, which is unrefined tallow, basically the liquid fat off the cattle is what it is. Yeah, it's not pleasant. I have no idea what it's like to be around one of these loading. And then the BNSF won't let them get on anywhere in Aberdeen. And I think that's interesting to hear you say that, because all they did, they want to be the shortest distance from the plant. So all they did is work their way up that line until they could find a siding that would, for somebody that'll participate. That's how it ended up at Claremont. I have no idea about the ownership or the notifications. I will say that route of taking those trucks all the way around town, well, at face value, it's legal. I haven't had any follow-up with him since I've seen that. So, I don't want to sound like Grand Poobah, but I want to revisit that topic because I haven't talked to him about taking the trucks up 20 and across behind the ballpark there. I can't speak to your roads in Claremont, but the only thing that I just spitballing is, as far as this is about the roads, I'm not gonna wade into the argument about the environmental impacts and that stuff, but, you know, from a transportation standpoint, the best thing to do would be to come straight into town and turn around in there somehow and come straight back out. And if we could do that, there may be an opportunity to get a grant to maintain the road and all that kind of stuff. I'm just throwing that out there as, you know, justification for what could potentially happen. So, but I want to revisit this. I'm going to talk with them about that route. I'm not sold on the route going all the way around town. I don't know how the county can regulate it, you know, within the scope of what they're doing as far as the trucking route goes. So I guess that was my comment about it. That's kind of how it ended up there, and I do agree they're moving fast. And I gotta, from a road standpoint, unless I'm gonna post the roads around Claremont, there's not a real good legal way to prevent what's been submitted to me so far, if that makes sense. So, did you guys get that, or is it just me rambling?
Oh, we got it.
The other part that bothers me about this is they're hauling this material in semis 35 miles to Claremont and loading it on rail cars and bringing it back to Aberdeen. There's got to be somewhere in 35 miles that doesn't impact people and homes. And when we're all thinking about that, I just keep going back to reminding myself, if I lived in one of those houses that's close. And I'm probably close enough to smell it at some point, but these people are right across the street. And if we would just all, you know, remember that when we're doing this, if we would like to go stay at their house for a week and see how it goes, I don't know. It's just, I honestly didn't think I would ever see anything like this happen in our town, but, you know, we're willing to work with anyone and see what we can accomplish, and so.
If you look on page 3 where it says Darwin and family, that would be the family, that would be the home that I live with my 89-year-old father, and it's owned by our family. And we are on the truck route. We are directly across. We have a screened-in porch that we may or may not be able to use. So this is really important to us, not just the truck route, that you could come in, given that this basically has no place to process, cannot be done in Aberdeen because Aberdeen doesn't want it. But then a small town like Claremont doesn't even have a gas station, gets stuck with it because nobody here wants it. And I feel like we're the underdog, that other places get to make those decisions and we don't. So I really want you to put yourself in that position with all of us that are from Claremont. We live right there, on the truck route and downwind of the actual process that will be happening.
I just had another question for Dirk. Is he saying there's nothing legally that we can do, Dirk, for the trucking?
I'm not saying nothing, but, you know, I don't know how I would regulate one certain truck or one kind of truck or something like that without posting the whole thing, and then that's going to raise quite an issue for the local producers there. You know, like I said, I looked at that information on Friday, and then I got the hell out of town, so I haven't had a lot of time to follow up with him about the route, but that's the only thing I would talk to. I mean, they haul that up there in tankers, like inedible grease tankers, and you know, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying there's nothing you can do. I mean, certainly in Claremont, you guys should have an easier way of doing something with your streets than the county does to restrict them. But, you know, and I'm also talking from the standpoint that you're trying to find the, you know, like it's going to happen and you're trying to find the least, you know, the most cooperative way or the least impactful way for you guys. But I'm not saying there's nothing you can do, but you know, you can designate where they drive, but like right in front of Nancy and Sherm's place, how the hell do I keep tankers off of that and let the grain trucks go through there to get down to the elevator, or wherever, you know? That's always the challenge that we have.
Mhm.
And that was never, when I said they go by our house, everything goes by our house, so I'm not, I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned about what's happening in town, and I'm concerned about our main street, and I don't want this to be the beginning of something worse. And, you know, we just don't, I don't know, our small town is all we have, and we work hard to, you know, keep our people, and this is not something that is, you invite in.
Commissioner Gates.
I had a question for you. You said now that in the spring, 3rd gets to be kind of soft and is tough to travel. Is that not load limited then in the spring to eliminate
Well, that's
some of
not
that?
on
like-
our truck route right now,
Right.
is it?
So I was gonna drive down there last night
They gotta go
to see.
block off the truck route to even get to where they're at.
So in order to, this is how I have understood it, in order for them to bring the trucks in, our city should have to change the truck route. Right?
Correct, it's not on our established truck
Right.
route currently.
3rd isn't then?
No.
Underestablished,
It is
okay.
Well, unfortunately, I think the issue is, this is within the city limits of Claremont, and we as a county really have no jurisdiction within the city of Claremont. That would be a city council issue, and it sounds like you've got a meeting set up for the 11th.
We do.
So, I think the city needs to reach out to their legal counsel, whoever represents the city as your legal counsel, to determine what steps are possible, or what actions are possible. But I think it starts with the city to determine what is legally allowable, and we've got our state's attorney here. Am I wrong, Ross? We have no jurisdiction over what takes place within the city limits of Claremont.
I have a lot of questions. This is the first I'm hearing about it,
Right.
so I don't know. I gotta talk to Scott Bader and figure out where we start and end.
I contacted our lawyer on Friday,
Okay.
just as a starting point to get some advice. And his first comment was to check and see if there's any zoning, because most little towns don't have
Right.
zoning. And so I checked yesterday with our, what is she? Our secretary treasurer, the lady who keeps the lights in the water running. And she was going to go down, and she started getting a lot of phone calls, and so she called Lon Gelhaus, who is Claremont's lawyer.
He's right
Standing behind you.
Hi, Lon. So you got a call from Charlotte. Yeah, and so he was gonna help her go through the books and see, first of all, if there was any zoning at all. He said that's the place to start, and then he would help us walk the path beyond that. So, that's where we're at right now.
Scott Bader, from a planning and zoning standpoint, do you have anything you'd like to add briefly?
Well, we take care of planning and zoning for the town of Claremont for permitting and plats and so forth, but this item of coming in and unloading at the train car doesn't really match up as a zoning issue that would go through for a conditional use. It's just basically unloading the same way that grain cars or grain trucks would if they're loading into the
Except
train
it's
or
not
the
grain.
elevator. you know.
Right. Yeah, and we've been told that the railroads have this is from some of our lawyer, probably Lon would say the same thing, that railroads do come in and kind of do what they want to do. And we unfortunately have the state available with that tract of land to be able to lease it, so. Okay, well,
The 11th, that's not a council meeting though, that's just an informational
that's an
meeting?
informational meeting, but
Okay.
there
Our
is a
city council meeting is the 8th at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yes.
'Cause I would say at the bare minimum, they should at least be looking at a haul road agreement with them to get in and out of there, so they're not, and that would also establish where they're coming in and out of there. I think they need to do that with the, with Claremont to begin with. I mean, they gotta get that, and that would be, city leadership would enter into something there, but.
And from what we've talked, I visited with our mayor yesterday morning, which I told you, and, it just really doesn't sound like there's been much of a conversation of any kind on a city level, and that just needs to happen, so, yeah.
So,
And I'm sure it will on Tuesday.
quick question for you, Dirk, if you're still on. The 4 miles between 37 and Claremont, are those posted regularly in the spring? That is a truck route that is not posted?
So 9 into Claremont,
Yep.
and then around the north, up to the north side of the church by the ball yard there, you know?
So the half
And then
mile
go
on
east
20?
9. Yep, and then east on 9.
Yep.
That is all open in the spring.
Okay.
Yeah, when you get to Charlotte and
So
Wendell
north
Rice
of
Corner.
and south of the elevator on 20, those are both posted.
So then it,
Does
like,
that make sense?
yeah, so like County 20 is posted once you get north of 118th Street, is that right?
I have no idea what 118 is. I use the
The
county
no-
roads.
Well, 118 is the north side of town.
By the ball.
County 9.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, north of there is posted, and south of the approach into McCraney's elevator is posted.
Okay.
The 9 coming from the west isn't posted.
Correct.
Right. All right, Scott Mines, do you have anything that you'd like to add based on what you've learned at all that you haven't?
Yeah, the only thing I would add is I did reach out to my contacts from my office side for DANR, and didn't sound like there was a whole lot of regulation. They did talk about stormwater permits and stuff like that they were gonna look into. As far as anything else, you know, it's kinda classified as a non-hazardous material. They were, depending on how hot they get it to be able to transport it liquid, would kind of determine some of the smell from what I understood. So I can't say that there will be smell or there won't be smell. You know, it should be a fairly closed system, you know, pumping it on and off the rail cars. So I would think that would be limited, but again, I can't say that for sure. But as far as the hazmat side of things or anything like that, there's really not any. This is a hand lotion for most part. But I understand your concern. Like I said, we're taking...
Well, I grew up on a farm, and I know that you can put animal waste in a barrel and have it completely sealed. You're still gonna smell.
I understand.
It's
That's
fine
why I
for
said,
me.
I won't say there won't be any smell, because I don't believe that to be true. But as far as, like I said, from the emergency management and the hazardous materials side, there's not a whole lot that we can regulate from that side.
Okay. Well,
I think probably what we need to do is let your city council meet next Monday to see what, you know, what they find out after visiting with legal counsel, what their options are, and then maybe get through that information meeting on the 11th, which maybe some or a few of us can attend, so we learn a little bit more. You know, we really are only 4 days into learning about this whole process.
it is very
And
early.
so we're sympathetic with what you're going through, and it's not that we don't care, but we're like the state attorney's office said,
Well,
they have a lot of questions that they
just
need
from your
answers.
responses when we all have called, you care, we know that. And we will go home and work on the city level. We have not had the opportunity to do that yet.
Sure.
But if we don't bring this up now, everyone's gonna say, hey, why didn't you come to us? So at least we can follow the chain of command now and get the steps in place.
Commissioner Weeks.
Just a couple comments, and thank you very much, everybody, for being here and your presentation, and very well prepared, which I appreciate. Thank you very much. Just a couple of comments, whether it's statutorily required or not. I think you folks have been and could be and should be entitled to some notice about something like this coming to your community. And I don't know that we have answers on it, but several questions that I have about it is technically at this point, if this goes through, who actually owns that product is a question that I would want to have an answer to. Who is conducting and responsible for the transfer process when it's being transferred from the trucks to the tank cars? Who's gonna do that, and who's responsible for that, or anything that goes wrong with that?
That is an important one.
Yeah,
Right.
who's hauling it?
Right, who's gonna be performing the function, and what is their, who are they, what's their, standing and process, safety practices, the rest of that kind of stuff. And I'd just be curious to know what the intended final destination of this product is.
We think
when
we
it's
know what it is.
transferred.
We
So,
think it's Texas.
Okay,
That's what we've heard, but we could be, there's a lot of rumor. And unfortunately, so far, most of the things that were rumors, we thought were true.
Mhm.
So, we've been eliminating quite a few things that we were hoping were just a rumor, but
yeah, so I mean, it's just my comment, those are questions that, in this
Yeah.
situation, I would like to at least have the answers to.
well, in our research, the product has been loaded locally, and also some of it has been distributed locally.
Mhm.
And there's a shift right now, and we got caught in the crosshairs, so. Thank you.
Well, do we know where is it going right now?
I don't even know how.
Well,
where
we've got
they
a
go-
note here, it states that possibly New Orleans or California for renewable diesel fuel.
They're trucking it now?
I don't know where it doesn't.
No, it goes on,
Diesel.
we believe, at the ethanol plant on the BNSF
Railroad?
currently. But it's being moved from the BNSF to this
Railroad?
It's our
Because they don't-
understanding because
Why?
they don't want
it.
it.
That's what we understood.
And we don't exactly know why they don't want it. We, if it's contractual, or if it's something else, but that's what we.
Well, knowing the efficiencies of the railroads, trying to pick up 5 cars anywhere
Yeah.
once a week is not a very efficient process.
We think that sounds like pie in the sky. And they use our rail line, for storage now.
Mhm.
They've been dropping off old cars, or cars they're not using, and they'll just leave them there for weeks, months.
Sure.
That kind of has bothered folks in town, but we've never complained about it because it can always get worse.
Right.
Well, now we found out what worse is, so,
Right.
okay.
Well, we thank you for coming in, all of you, for taking
Thank
time
you
out of
so
your
much.
day. We will continue to pursue it on our end to get answers to the questions that we have, and
Well, will Nancy be the contact, if you guys have any answers, you,
sure,
okay.
yep, I've got her contact
Okay,
information.
sounds good. All right,
We'll-
thank you
we'll
so
be in
much.
touch. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
You did really well. A lot of information.
In a very short period of time.
Right, right.
That's what you have to do at school.
Thank you for hearing us.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much
very much
for
Thank you
coming.
very much.
Thank you. All right, is there any other business to come before the Bryan County Commission this morning? We've had a request to go into executive session for contracts, personnel, and probably legal.
Move.
Motion by Weiss. Second. Second by Denner to go into executive session. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We are in exec. Back on, we're back in session, out of exec. No action is the result. We'll be making some motions. At this point, I would make a motion to
Entertain a motion.
I would entertain a motion, to take, $10,000, or excuse me, the 50% match for the Hockey Association fund out of the commission contingency fund.
Move.
Motion by Weiss.
Second.
Second by Gage. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. At this point, I would entertain a motion to contribute, based on a request by the Aberdeen Hockey Association, to contribute $5,000 towards, some landscaping project that they're going to be completing in Fairgrounds. Move. Motion by Dennert, second by Weiss. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. At this point, I would entertain a motion to, I'm sorry.
Retainer for Carly.
Oh, yep. I would entertain a motion to pay the retainer fee requested by an out-of-state attorney in a legal case approximately $2,600.
Move.
Motion by Weiss.
Second.
Second by Feldheim, for the discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. There. That's all I have. Yes, anything? Okay. Anything else to come before the Brown County Commission this morning?
To adjourn.
Motion by Weiss.
Second.
Second by Feldheim. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We are adjourned.
2 minutes.